The euphoria that swept sections of Burundi following an attempted coup on Wednesday was extinguished after President Pierre Nkuruziza returned to the country on Friday afternoon. An expert on peace and conflict studies, Dr. Arthur Bainemugisha, says the failed coup was a success for democracy.
I think it's good for people now to subject themselves to the electoral process and the constitutional means. So there is that element that some people may be dissuaded to try again, and I think a message may have been thrown across the region.
Immediately, news of the attempted coup trickled in. East African heads of state who are meeting in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, condemned the coup.
The summit is of the view that it does not solve the problems of Burundi. We don't accept the coup. We condemn it in the strongest terms possible, and we call upon return to constitutional order in that country.
But analysts say the regional leaders are to blame for failing to prevent the situation from turning into a crisis.
It's right also to send a message to the leaders in the region that actually the people are becoming impatient, that the people will not allow a constitutional change of power, lack of law, or even clinging to power for a long time.
Even during the protests and despite international condemnation, President Pierre Nkuruziza appeared unbothered, and having failed this coup, is going to become more energized and, in the words of experts, even more brutal. Dr. Gerald Karuyaija, who heads the School of Management Sciences at Uganda Management Institute, believes Nkurunziza can still redeem his legacy.
I would advise him to be more accommodating and try to bring on board those who don't agree with him, but he may choose to. Usually such people end up fighting dissent with a very hard, in the hard way, and that may create more resistance and resilience.
Nkurunziza was elected president by parliament at the end of the civil war in 2005. He kept a clean record for 10 years, but attracted protest when he accepted to run for a third term.
I think he delayed to implement these reforms well in time and brought them together and caused the crisis. He caused the crisis because the elections are actually in June, and then he declares towards the elections.
Elections alone and the demand by individuals that you go back into power is no longer the measure in Africa for democracy, because that is the procedural democracy, which is at the minimalist level. People are demanding for higher levels of democracy, term limits, freedom of speech, expression.
The president will also have to check on unemployment that fueled the current protests. Since 1960, African countries have witnessed about 100 coups. There are fears that Burundi may witness another coup if an inclusive reconciliation process is not undertaken. Moses Akena, NTV.